The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Potty Plotters podcast. See, if we knew enough people, we could get a little ditty in that, couldn't we, really? Like singing it.
We ought
No,
to get
don't
the
do
lads.
singing. It's been raining enough recently.
We ought to
I mean, it's the one nice day of the year we've had so far. So
Just saying, Gareth, that's all.
I think we ought to get the lads around site to do something and get them to record something for us. An intro.
That's the job for the week then.
Yeah, right.
Put it on the list.
Yeah.
Okay then. Well, we're still in season 2 and we're on episode 15. I'm Elaine.
And I'm Julia.
And the sun is shining and Gareth's here.
I can't see my screen.
No. He's happy, but he's not happy.
No. I am happy because this is like the second time this season we've been outside.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're making me think. Was it? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
because we spoke to lady with the bra.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
Angela.
Angela. That was
Yes.
outside.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
And we're outside now.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's 2.
That's 2.
Yeah.
So 2 out
Okay.
of what? Nearly 180 days isn't going too bad, is it?
No. I mean, we've had to abandon ship a few times and go to your house because it's been raining that much. It was too noisy in the polytunnel. So anyway, we're not
moaning. No, let's get on with
celebrating
it.
the sunshine.
Sunbathing.
We certainly are. So in this episode, what we're going to be doing? Well, we are going to be talking, really, and that's what we're good at. And so let's get cracking. If anybody's got any questions, though, they still can get in touch, as people do, can't they, Gareth?
They can.
Give us a talking part then. Go on.
So you want me to do this?
Yes.
Okay, so if you'd like to send us a question and get an answer sometimes, you can send it on the social medias of Facebook, Instagram and X at Potty Plotters. You can TikTok us at The Potty Plotters. You can email naughtycorner at pottyplotters.uk or check out the website pottyplotters.uk.
That sounded lovely, didn't it?
Yeah.
I could get a job doing that, couldn't I?
You have.
Voiceover
That's it.
person.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
a paying job.
Oh, no, you'll never get that.
No,
No, forget
no.
that.
Okay.
Right then, what about this Kofi malarkey?
What about Kofi? Well, we had lunchy.
We did. Gareth brought
yeah.
lunchy,
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
he?
that
Which
was
was very
nice.
We had lunchy
nice.
and donutty brought from Kofi. So if you enjoy what we do and you'd like to support us to keep carrying on, then leave us a tip, please, if you could. And you can do that by going to ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/thepottyplotters. And if you do that, we'll love you forever and give you a big shout out and a big hug on the podcast.
That's nice, yeah.
Yeah, group hug. Nice.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
Okay, then, right, let's get cracking because people want to listen to what we've got to advise. And the first thing is, Gareth, do you like a crisp lettuce?
You mean like an iceberg?
Well, similar, but
Yeah.
different.
Crunchy.
Yes.
Do you like a crunchy lettuce? Not a floppy one.
I prefer crunchy lettuce to a soft lettuce, like a round lettuce. You know, the traditional.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, they're
No.
a bit boring.
Yeah.
So yes, I do like a crisp
Okay,
lettuce.
well, we're going to teach you how to make your own crisp lettuce.
Is this a bit like a crisp sandwich?
Oh, I do like a
Oh,
crisp
yeah.
sandwich.
Crisp sandwich with cheese.
Ooh.
Cheese and crisp sandwich.
No, loads of Lurpak.
Oh,
Tons
and then
of
you have
it.
to squash it all down
Yeah,
to make
stick
sure it
'em all in.
Yeah. Right, okay.
No, it's not like that at all. To my right, I am reaching over and I'm bringing here a crisp lettuce. It's a play on words, Gareth.
So that's not a cheese and onion flavour lettuce.
No,
You disappoint.
sauce. So what we have done is we've got a packet of Walker's crisps, and Julia, because she's good at this, she ate them on. I mean, I
think
did
you took
order
one for the
you.
team
I
there, didn't
did
you?
my best.
She did.
Yeah.
She did.
Do you do any other flavours?
No, but actually, I'm just remembering back. I'm sure many, many years ago, Elaine, didn't you buy lettuce that was meant to taste of beef?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
And they did.
Oh.
Do you remember?
Well, I don't know because I wouldn't try them because I'm
Tell
vegetarian.
you what, Julia, where's that come from? That was years ago, wasn't
I know.
it? Oh, you're making me think. Anyway, Gareth,
Can you get
back
smoky
to
bacon
it.
flavour lettuce?
You can get anything,
You can have your crisp lettuce in any flavour of crisps.
and you can have your crisps
And
eat them.
Yeah.
So what we've got is a packet of crisps, and Julia has eaten the contents.
Well done.
Thank you.
Then I've put around 4 inches of multi-purpose compost in, and then I stabbed the packet on the sides, not on the bottom on this one, and so that's just so that the water can be released. And we just sprinkled a few cut and come again lettuce leaves on the top. And this was just a few weeks ago, and look at that, Gareth.
See, I think that's vaguely more successful than our teeny greenies.
Well, it's on a
Yeah.
par.
No, I
Yeah.
think it's more successful
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're bigger. Because
Yeah.
in effect, you could eat those.
Oh, gosh, yeah, they are for eating, yeah.
Whereas the teeny greenies were more of a garnish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what I'll say is Walkers, since we're mentioning we've had those packet of crisps, you know, you could sponsor us for far cheaper than you do that Gary Lineker bloke.
Oh, I think
And
he's been dumped.
Oh, I
No, he
think-
hasn't.
Oh,
He
right.
has. I saw another famous person, Beckham. He was doing it.
Anyway, we're much cheaper than
Anyway.
either of those. We can eat the lettuces, and then we can. This is a great way of getting children to eat crisps, but also
Is that
then.
really a great thing?
No. But then on the
How
other
about your
hand,
chocolate lettuce?
no. But then on the other hand, then you
Here's your
get
Malteser lettuce.
then you get to eat this lovely lettuce because they've created some lettuce. So it's kind of the good with the bad, really, or you know, there's no
Can you
bad
do other
really. is
things
there?
in? So we call it the crisp lettuce.
Yeah.
And obviously today with lunch we had crisps. You've
Yeah.
had some slightly different things that you've
Yeah, I've
really
kept the
nice.
packets
Yeah.
here, actually, Gareth.
Could we do other things in crisp packets? Is
No.
it just restricted to lettuce?
I've had a thought. You see, Gareth has given us some French fries for lunch to
Yeah,
go with
they're
our
not
sandwich.
real French fries. I'm just
Yeah,
going
but
to
it
have a look
says
on the packet,
French
Julia.
fries.
It does say French fries, yeah.
Could we,
Yeah.
for example, plant one of your Mystique French
Dwarf beans.
dwarf beans in them?
Well, why don't we have a go?
I think so.
And see if it works. That's good. Now then, since you're on a roll, I'll
Yeah.
just remind you of what
It
else
was a
we've
sandwich,
had.
not a roll.
Mini cheddars. What
Ooh.
could we plant in that? Because that's a tiny weeny bag, that
Yeah.
is.
Radish?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
you'd only
could.
get 2 or 3 out of it, wouldn't
Yeah,
you? Ooh.
Well, let's have
Could
a
you
little
put?
Hey,
Could we? Here's one for you. Let's go back to last year when we had the disastrous red robin in my house. It wasn't really a red robin. Could we put a small tomato plant in them?
No.
Okay.
it's not big enough or deep enough, but I tell you what, because I've read the front, because these were double Gloucester and chive. Chives.
Yeah.
Let's get some herbs in there. So we'll do that,
Yeah.
and we'll let everybody know how we go on with them.
So the crispy lettuce are a great way of using up something and making it a bit more interesting for children to
Yeah.
have a go at growing. But also, I'm just going to refer to Gareth talking about planting a tomato in the packet. Now, from last week when we spoke to the lady from Bra Crafts, Angela, who was lovely, and we told her about our strawberries, we've now ventured into a new thing in your whopper bras, haven't
Yeah, I
we,
did
Elaine?
bring them, yeah.
Yeah. So what we've done
Potatoes.
is
Melons.
no, not
better.
no. What we've done is we've cut slits into the bra just like we did
Yeah.
with the strawberries. But what we've done is planted some tomato plants,
Bush tomato plants.
Well, the kind that you would have for a hanging basket.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, Elaine, and it kind of. You know, I think there's enough compost in there to
Yeah,
actually
there
start
should be.
producing some tomatoes. So what have you called them?
Tom tits. How are the cucumbers doing then, Julia?
Well, I have a confession.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
Right, okay.
Confessions, right. I had them in my polytunnel, and even though I'd covered them over, they did get a little bit nipped by the frost. So I took them home, and it did kind of stunt them a little bit and stop them growing. But now we've got some, as Gareth pointed out, we've got sunshine, we've got a bit of heat, and they have started to regrow. But certainly the first couple of leaves were not looking very happy. So I'm glad that I actually whipped them out and took them home for a bit more protection.
Well, I took mine home and I've just brought mine back, and they are ready for potting on.
Oh.
So as you can see, I've actually got the true leaves, and I've actually got 4 true leaves on
blimey.
mine. But if you have a look underneath, the beautiful root ball.
Oh.
Now, the thing to remember with cucumbers, and although we mess about quite a lot, is the thing to remember with cucumbers is they do not like their bottoms being interfered with.
No.
And that's where
Who
some
does?
folk go wrong, in that they'll take them out of these cell trays, they'll shake all the old compost off, and then replant into the next size pot.
no.
Now, what I'm going to say to everybody is don't do that. Don't say don't very often, but don't do that. All I want you to do is to get a 6-inch pot, so that's quite big, but this is going to be where they grow and then they move from there in a few weeks' time.
Okay.
So all I want you to do now is put 3 inches of compost, all round about that, in the bottom of that pot, then lift the whole of that cell tray out and put the whole lot into the compost on the top, and then just put now all the loose compost all the way round and a bit more to on the top too. But it's really important not to break that cell up. It doesn't need to be interfered with. Leave it as it is. They just don't like to be messed around with.
Elaine, I've got a question. Why haven't you planted them directly into the bed that you're going to grow them in?
Because it's too cold, Julia, and they don't like a chill. As you said, you know, yours have been nipped already.
Yeah.
They don't like the cold, and they've got to get acclimatised. Certainly, the greenhouse today are really hot. I've opened all the doors, but it's not hot enough still for them. And actually, I've not got the horse muck in there.
Oh.
No, so I'm not ready.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay, well, get on with it then.
Okay.
If you'd like to support the podcast, you can leave us a tip at kofi.com/thepottyplotters. That's ko-fi.com/thepottyplotters. And we'll love you forever.
Julia, you've bought loads and loads of beans because we're now going to talk about everything to do with beans.
I've gone beanie mad. Yeah, I've
you
gone
have.
beanie mad this year. Yeah.
Okay, oh my God. Right then.
I know.
Where to start? Let's start with a dwarf. What is a dwarf bean that people talk about?
So dwarf, you can get dwarf runner beans, you can get dwarf French beans. I've got some dwarf ballotti beans. I think that's how you say it. We're not very good at that pronunciation, are we? But I've got all the dwarfs, and the advantage of the dwarf ones are they obviously...
You knew that was coming, didn't you? Snow White will be on the phone very, very quickly if you've got all of them.
I'm one of them. Anyway, so the dwarf varieties, they tend to get going much quicker because obviously they've not got to grow up anything. So they do get going quite quickly.
So they don't need staking,
they
don't need any faff, nothing.
No.
So actually, for people who want to grow in containers or they grow things in containers and put them on a balcony, that's the best thing for them then, maybe.
I mean, what I would say as well is if you've got a raised bed, you're not wanting to plant something that's going to go climbing, otherwise you're going to get the stepladder out, aren't you, to get and pick them. So, you know, it depends on your circumstances as to whether you plant a dwarf variety or whether you look at the alternative of the climbing beans, which of course they do need something to climb up, so you put some kind of wigwam around or some kind of netting up for them to climb up, but they do take a little bit longer to grow because obviously they've got to then climb, and as they climb they'll start to set flowers and it takes a little bit longer. So
all right, and so if we go back to the beginning, if you're going to do runner beans, when they're called dwarf runner beans, they're just beans that grow to around 18 inches in the ground. They're easy to grow and you get a lot of beans off them.
Yeah, but they will be a bit smaller than the traditional ones that you maybe plant in the ground. The ones you plant in the ground, of course, they need access to the moisture, they need a lot of nutrients around them, and they are great to grow. And one thing that we've discovered, and it's interesting that Kings have written it on the packet, it's almost like they listen to us, Elaine, but the white flowered variety of runner beans seem to less likely to attract the birds and so suffer from less bird damage, and they've written it on the packet. How strange that is.
It is, and it does work. So for those people who normally do Scarlet Emperor or something similar to that, I mean there's so many different varieties, the best ones to actually grow are, I think, White Lady. They're supposed to be a non-chewy but non-stringy variety.
A lot
as
of the newer varieties, they are marketed as stringless, but of course if you let anything go too long it is going to develop a tough skin and a string to it. So our advice would be to keep on picking, pick them young and keep on picking, because that way the plant will keep on producing and you'll always have nice young juicy beans to eat.
All right then, so let's get started. How do you actually set these beans then? Any of the beans? Any of them? Because I would imagine they're all planted exactly the same way.
They're all planted exactly the same way, but when we're planting them into cell trays, and they're the trays that we've been using for years and years and we just reuse them, I always plant a runner bean into a cell with a cell tray with probably 6 cells in it, because that's quite a big bean that you are planting, so it needs room to actually fill out and grow that space. Something like a dwarf bean, a French bean, they're much smaller seedlings, so I think you can get away with a smaller cell, so probably get away with a 9-cell tray, something like that. So it's don't waste the compost if you don't need to, but we want to give them a head start. And the reason we want to give them all a head start is, first of all, we know that the mice will find the beans. If we plant directly in the soil, the mice will have the beans and there'll be nothing there. I mean, traditionally people used to go plant them in the ground and go, 2 beans in each hole, 1 for me and 1 for the mice. But actually, I don't want the mice to have any. That's a bit mean, isn't it?
It is really.
But anyway, so that's why one of the reasons we actually set them in the cell trays. Another reason we set them in the cell trays is, of course, if they are coming up in the ground, the first thing that's going to come up are young, tender leaves, and they are super attractive to the slugs and snails. So in giving them a head start, in setting them off in cell trays, we know that we can grow them to probably, 6-8 inches, and then we can plant them out. And that's giving us a head start. And also, if there is a little bit of slug damage, the plant can cope with it generally.
Yeah. OK, so we'll get them going. Now, when you say they're going to plant them into cell trays of different sizes, where are you going to keep them? Are you leave them outside, in the cold frame, outside, or in the greenhouse?
Well, I think I can get away with putting them in the cold frame because it's been warm enough now to get them going, but it depends how quickly I want them to get going. And as we've done many times, we don't really get started too early with the runner beans because they always come ready when it's salad season really, and it's too hot.
But we do succession planting, don't we? So to remind people what succession planting is, we don't do rows and rows of beans so that you're carting carrier bags of blooming beans here, there and everywhere trying to get rid of them. We just do a wigwam, so that's 3 or 5 bamboo poles in the ground, and we do enough beans probably for 6 weeks, I would say, and then move them on because they'll keep growing until the first frost, so the end of October.
So that's why we set them in cells, and we do like you say, a successional sowing. In terms of the runner beans, they do freeze a lot better, we've found, and of course you can use them in salads a lot more. Well, I think you can.
Runner beans?
No,
do you mean
the
French beans.
We use them a lot more in the salads. So
is it a salad niçoise or something?
Oh, I don't know.
What is it, Gareth?
I don't know, but that's a bit posh for you, isn't it?
It is, that's why I can't spell it. I can't say it, never mind spell it.
I mean, just looking at the beans that you've brought along with you, I've pulled this one out, and I'd thought that doesn't look like a bean.
It is a bean.
It is a bean, but the colour of it, it's not green.
No.
So the pod is yellowy red.
That's a Belotti bean. Belotta bean. So
an Italian bean.
It is an Italian bean, but
I noticed that because it got linguino I'm not even going to say that because it's probably going to come out wrong.
It is an Italian, but it's called a French bean. So Italian-French, I don't know. I don't know how the kind of nationalities work on all the beans.
Do you think it's all to do with Brexit?
I think it's to do with something to do with Europe, but probably not Brexit.
Anyway, one of the reasons that I'm growing this one, and I'm going for the climbing bean of both the Cobra French bean and also the Belotta French bean. The Belotta's beautiful because that is almost, if you pick it when it's before the beans start to form, that is almost like a French bean that you would think about, like a green bean that you would have on your dinner, and that's beautiful. But if you leave the Belotta to carry on and let the beans develop inside, you can actually dry them and save them and use them in things like stews later on in the year. So that's a really versatile one, and of course you've not got to worry too much if you miss one and it starts to swell up. But the climbing French bean, the Cobra, it says the very best in flavour, and I love these, and I'm going to plant quite a lot of them, I think, Elaine.
Okay, well I'm not. I'm going to do Mystique. Yeah. Now, Mystique, for those who've never heard of it before, I like it. It's a dwarf purple French bean, French bean, whatever, and grows to about 12 to 18 inches. But I like it because it gets the fruit, which is purple, on the top rather than intermingled with all the leaves.
Yeah, but what concerns me about that one is, Elaine, that's a dwarf one and you're a giant.
But you've not asked me yet where I'm going to plant them.
Where are you going to put them?
Well, I'll tell you in about 3 episodes or something similar, and then you can have a look.
Elaine the beanstalk.
She did. She grew a giant bean, and
I bet she did.
And actually entered into a local competition, and we went to see Jack and the Beanstalk.
I bet she did. Did she wander around just trying to swap things for beans? There's a lot of that, didn't she?
No, but the thing is, Gareth, I can warn you now that I've got 2 old dustbins, so I will be planting them in that, and then they'll be called a tin of beans.
Oh, that's clever.
I am really.
Contact the Potty Plotters anytime on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at Potty Plotters, or email naughtycorner@pottyplotters.uk.
Julia, do you remember the name Lee Norbury?
Yes.
Now then, we spoke to him as he was preparing for Chelsea, and then actually met him at the flower show when we were there.
He was very excited, wasn't he, when he was there? Yeah, I remember him, yeah.
I think he was crying, actually. Anyway, he called on us a couple of weeks ago to bring us up to speed about what he's doing this year.
It's all changed since then. I had a dream, and it's slowly coming to fruition. I had a conversation with a couple of people at Chelsea, the people that run Chelsea, going, imagine this, imagine that, and they loved the idea. I applied through the channels that you do, the bureaucracy, the things they have in place to apply for these things to show at the RHS shows.
Yes.
My dream was Chelsea. You can't show at Chelsea until you've done another RHS show.
Okay.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. So you have to do one before Chelsea?
You have to do
Ah.
another RHS show before you can do the dream of Chelsea.
Really? So that's like a preliminary then that you have to do before you get stuck in?
Yeah.
I suppose it's like an interview process.
Ah,
I don't know how to describe it. The people involved actually knew that I've done however many Chelseas for other people, and tried. They actually tried and tried to eliminate that cross of, no, he's never done an RHS show, but he's worked at Chelsea. And they
So
tried.
you've never done one in your own name?
In my own name.
Yes.
And it is all about what name is on that
Yes.
box.
I see.
And my name, even though I've done that one last year, the Nuke the year before, Interflora, my name's not on that box. I'm just a subby.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
just a somebody.
So what interests me, Lee, is that you've said, so you've got to do another RHS show. So you've obviously going to do a RHS show, but we know you a little bit, and you can't just do one, can you? You've put your name down for two.
So it came about. Helen Bowen, RHS, my contact through the application process, went, look, apply for all three.
Right.
Apply for Chelsea, Hampton and Tatton. I don't want to do them. I want to do Chelsea. I want to do Chelsea. I want to do Chelsea. Just give me Chelsea. But no, obviously, can't. And I very quickly learnt that I'm probably not going to get Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then I got a lovely email one day going, you're in. Hampton, welcome to the biggest garden
it is.
festival in the universe.
Yes.
So, okay, planet Earth, but
Yeah.
the universe.
Yeah.
You are in. Wow, thank you. No, Lee, well done. Because it's
Yeah.
still not an easy thing getting
No,
into these
absolutely,
things.
yeah.
It's not. You have to tick boxes. You have to come. So before all this, I've done the design. I've created in my head what I think I want to do. And actually, I found the other day in all my folders of A4 ripped piece of paper, and I found my original concept. And you know what? It's still 95% that.
Brilliant.
And then 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, look, we can't get you into Chelsea. We've tried. They sort of gone, come on. He's going to blow a bit of fresh air into Chelsea. He did it last year. He did it year before. But no. But do you want Tatton as well? Oh, God. Oh, yeah, go on then. Why not? Let's do it.
So you
Let's
hit the
do it.
south and the north then?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my first thing was Airbnb. Because I've had enough of hotels. I've spent my life with other people organising hotels.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I've got a team of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people at various points of the shows. I'm not doing hotels.
But I mean, I would be now panicking if I had put my name forward for Chelsea, because we know that the weather has been worse than diabolical, and that's just for us on allotments. It doesn't matter if we get things wrong, but if you've got a really big show, and of course you've got two, how are you managing with all this weather?
So honestly, I'm not managing. I am coping. I am just
Yeah.
it's the old, what is it, iceberg, third above, 2/3 above, swan glaze, la 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 la, and underneath it's going, I am that.
Yeah.
I still have 7 weeks, but Chelsea, so I am very fortunate enough, I am actually supplying a small trade stand for Chelsea Flower Show.
Ooh.
And I have their list. And I'm sort of going, look, you're going to have to just bear with me of some of those aren't going to be ready. But I have a nursery full of stuff. Come down on May the 16th. All that'll be ready. But some of what you want to be ready and I want to supply you isn't going to be ready. You're going to have to choose.
I mean, you've very kindly brought us some gifts here, and you bought us cell trays full of different plants. You've bought a selection of wildflower seedlings, it's fair to say, that
And
have
that's my
certainly
mix.
got
That's
established.
your mix,
Lovely.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then in this one, you've got a combination of different stuff. So we've got swede, we've got wasabi rocket.
Yeah.
That looks interesting. We've got, is it early Nantes?
That's
carrots?
early Nantes, yeah. Simple
Little
for
gem, we
allotments.
are simple. Little gem lettuces. We've got rainbow chard. We've got French sorrel. So it's fair to say coriander. We've got a combination of all kinds of different plants. And if this is a sample, I mean, your place must be absolutely rammed. And by the way, what's this tater for?
I've just thought, I've done you that. I've done your seeds. I thought I'd bring you potato.
For tea.
No, not for tea. For growing, obviously. I've chittered it so far, so you can,
So are these all an example of things that you're going to be growing for the shows?
So some of it is, and the show is my display, and it's just it. And I will say, it is just a table in the Grand Marquee. Yeah, or not? They don't call it the Grand Marquee. Sorry,
Is it the pavilion?
The pavilion. They call it different things at Tatton, Hampton, Chelsea. I've gone for this mad idea of, in essence, the life and times of a plant.
Oh.
So it's from a seed to the mature plant, and then it's about the 5 senses. So
Common sense?
no,
But
none of
no,
none
right,
left.
okay.
No, I don't know where you get that
There's no common sense available anymore. Very anyway. But it's about the 5 senses.
Okay.
The 5 senses is going to be beautiful plants to replicate the 5 senses. The life and times of the vegetable, plant, flower, because it has. That's the bit that's changed. It was just the life and times of a vegetable plant.
Yeah.
Just people buy a vegetable. People
Yes,
go to the supermarket and buy a carrot. People go and buy a cauliflower. They don't. It's not a case of don't know. It's this. There's so much. Whether you're growing 50,000 cauliflowers, it's not just growing 50,000 cauliflowers. And this year summarises that.
Yeah.
So you're trying to tell people about the process
It's-
of what they're eating.
Yeah.
I'm a new nursery. I have a specialist of herbaceous plants. That's us. If you want to put something on it, I grow herbaceous plants. I grow vegetable plants for local allotments near into Shardlow, and for customers, my existing customer stuff. And yeah, I just thought, well, if I'm going to do something, instead of just there's a table full of something, one variety, maybe 2. This is what I grow. Being a new nursery, I don't think I've found my niche yet. And it's that, well, let's go on the educational side, because I'm very educational with my customers. I talk to in the local hostelry. And it's that, you know what, let's come up with something. And that started at Chelsea last year, when we're planting all this stuff, and the big boys at Chelsea are going, well, that's quite an array of plants. Where'd you get them from then? Because it's not, I won't say the big names, but it's not the 3 Arctics turning up every day for all the big boys.
Yeah.
This is turning up in a white van. Well, where you got this lot from? Well, I've grown it. What? Well, how have you grown that? Well, I just have. Well, I haven't just have. And it's that, even if it's from a show point of view, to actually try and show what people put into these incredible displays. Or when you see an allotment, and people have grown them in there because they know what they're doing and they plant them out, and then somebody new comes on the allotment. Well, how have you grown that? And I don't know, I'm wacky, it's a bit of a curveball. Everybody seems to like the idea, although I wouldn't have Hampton and Tatton. There must be something of this.
But
they were in two minds.
But a massive challenge, though.
Oh,
I mean, this is
just
not just about popping along the allotment, put in a few broad beans, carrots, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You have taken on, in effect, a huge...
I mean, it's not like entering the local show, is it now, Lee?
No.
I mean, this is kind of, you've gone right to the top straight away. And I just think that's a little bit mad, as you say. And, it must be, without being personal, this must be, unless you've got major sponsors behind you, it must be quite a financial commitment, quite an emotional commitment.
Very emotional. You two know that. You
a massive time commitment.
Time, because I still have a day job. I still have to earn my money doing what I've done for next year is my 40th year doing what I do, gardening, landscaping. I still have to do that to pay for all this. I am very lucky. I have I'll call it a backer. Yeah. I have a backer, and very lucky it's to whatever level. Yeah. It's 50-50, so it's all 50-50, and it's not for free. Yeah. It's not for actually promoting his company, their company. It's not for that. It's they love me. Yeah.
He believes in what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I've done his garden. It is awesome. We've built a greenhouse this winter. It is full of that. He's gone, come on. Because I had a wobble. I've had, I'm not shy enough to say.
It's been a very difficult winter.
I've had a wobble. Yeah. I paid the money to the RHS in, when was that? Early January. That's their commitment time. Yeah. Tick, you're in. There's an invoice.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters.
And there's more to come. Part 2 of our chat with Lee will be in the next episode. Julia, have we had any messages then from anybody? Because we always go to the trouble of telling people how to get in touch with us. Who's been in touch?
Well, we've had an email with photographs that has landed in from John Fitzgerald, and he needs some help. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Hi Plotters, I am a keen listener of your podcast, and as a novice to the allotment world, it is great for all of your tips as well as giving me the confidence to give stuff a go on the plot.
Oh, that's
nice. And always give it a go, always. After moving back to Gloucestershire from our small London flat, we found a lovely house with allotments right behind our back door.
We like
I'd
him
love
already.
that. I'd love that. And wanting to teach our young son about growing his own food, once the waiting lists were open, we put our name down and we got a plot in September. Unfortunately, like many plots, we inherited a weed fest with the occasional gladioli bulb. As you can see, through the winter and early part of this year, we have begun transforming this into some slightly raised beds for our veg patches. Now, I am perhaps a bit slapdash when it comes to DIY sometimes, so unfortunately the beds are a bit wobbly, much to the amusement of the plot owners. I was thinking of planting some plants in the trench around the outside of the plot to hide my terrible DIY skills and also to attract pollinators to the garden. What plants would you recommend that I plant? I was thinking lavender to begin with, but wanted a good mix of different plants so it will look visually attractive as well. Love the podcast. Many thanks, John.
And that's proof that he does listen. Yeah. Because he said those words.
Love the podcast.
Love the podcast.
Love it.
Yeah. We haven't had many of that this year.
No.
So if every time you write in, please, love the podcast.
Yeah.
To prove you listen to us.
Yeah, love it. Right then. Well, now then, Julia, he sent 2 photographs in, one before and one after.
Yeah.
One looks like a field to describe to the listeners. To say that it's a field is perhaps the best description. And then, working on it, he's actually put lots of raised beds. They don't look wobbly to me.
No,
They look smashing, and they've defined areas of growing.
And who says that raised beds have to be straight anyway?
Kev Plot too.
Well, yeah, but ignore him.
Okay,
Ignore
then.
him. Just be proud of what you've done, because what I would say is allotments are great places to kind of experiment and develop skills. So, I mean, we have become almost fully furnished joiners, haven't we? And that's just through kind of giving things a go. So don't be ashamed of what you've done. Celebrate it. But if you do want to put something around your boundary, and really you don't have to, what I would do is create something that you can enjoy as well, maybe a flower area anyway, is start looking at maybe some perennial plants that will attract lots of pollinators. There's some fantastic plants out there, so they will literally grow through the summer and then die back over winter, but you can leave them just to set the seed over winter if your association allow it, and that's great for pollinators, because a lot of pollinators will use them as habitats over the winter and food areas. So you could look at getting some perennial flowers in. Lavender's always a great one. We like to plant some rosemary because that's useful as well as beautiful. Anything else, Elaine? Any suggestions?
Well, I mean, for me, when I was looking at the photos, I thought, well, I wouldn't overload it at the moment, because you're new to all of this. And whilst it is great that you're eager to please pollinators, there are very few vegetables that will grow and not flower. That's a thought.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So do you actually need to be extending any more of the work that you've already got? I would actually make good instead of the patches that you've got and get that soil down to a fine tilth, which it looks like that you're doing really well. So you get it to like a breadcrumb stage, and then everything and anything will grow in it. The other thing is, Julia, that people look at raised beds sometimes and forget the widths that you need to leave between the barrier of the perimeter and also between the raised beds is what?
That's your kneeling space. So it's the space between your knee joint and your ankle joint. Yeah. Now, obviously, my raised beds can be much closer than your raised beds.
Gareth's laughing, but it is true, isn't it? And some of the lads, they come over here and they say, oh, you've left a bit of a wide gap there. Yeah, hello. How big am I? So if I get down, I need to be able to get up. And the only way I can get up is having a big enough patch to get out of the space.
Because you don't want to be sticking your foot in the next raised bed, do you? And damaging things. So.
And the other thing is that you need enough space to get a wheelbarrow down it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So the amount of times that you're carting topsoil, muck, and anything else, the mulch that goes down onto the pass, that's the space that you actually need. So, you know, be happy with what you've got. And if they're a bit wobbly, then do something about that. John, I would. Right. I'd just put some stakes into the ground and screw into those.
Yeah, and what I'd say is once you've actually planted them up, you won't probably be able to see the frame, so it won't matter.
It'll be looking lovely. Yeah. So be happy with what you've done, because we are, and we were very impressed. So thanks for getting in touch, John.
Top-notch advice, no Latin included. The Potty Plotters Plotcast.
Well, thanks to Lee for giving up his time, and I can't believe how much he actually does, and to everybody else who's got in touch, in particular John. And it's great when we can see the photographs of the hard work that people have been doing, Julia. It's been a miserable blooming start to the year, hasn't it?
I think my favourite phrase this year is I feel really sorry for people who are starting out this year, because it is, I think, one of the biggest year for challengers in terms of the winter, the wet that we've had. It's just been relentless. And I think to keep motivated and keep going, I think it's hard for new people. We know what the summers are like. We know that we can enjoy ourselves and things will catch up and get going. But I don't know how people have stayed motivated. So well done to anyone who's taken on a plot this year, and just keep at it, because the rewards will be coming your way.
And we have had bad wind.
That's you.
Anyway, next time we'll be looking at everything to do with all things bright and beautiful. Aww. Let's get Chelseafication on.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? Is that a name?
Chelseafication.
Chelseafication. Chelseafication. That's the name of the game. Is it Roy Castle? I don't know. He could play a trumpet.
The Plotcast Podcast with the Potty Plotters is an Amberland Media production.